What happens when you buy a home as is? I'm buying this property right here, and we are doing a certified home inspection. You want to do that to see if there are any hidden surprises. Today I'm here with my friend Alex Kendell from Housewarming Inspections. Let's check it out. So what are we doing here, Alex? You see that line right here? He's saying that moisture line right here could be a sign. You can already see the baseboards are all moist. So he's thinking another some tiles all around, digging it up.
And the window's leaking also. You can see how the moisture's overflowing over the top of that. But yeah, it's evident that it's everywhere. And adding drain tile system to a sump pump in place is basically the same cost as adding a sump pump. And so what they should have done is everything, but it looks like all that they've done is the one side.
That one side, okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least it's concrete already in here, you know.
But again, without the cove plate, it's basically pointless.
Right. The moisture and the stains right here, these are concerned, especially with the smell.
All right, so the efflorescence here that's on top of the wall, efflorescence is a sediment deposit that dries up on the wall after the wall has leaked. So moisture comes through, typically goes down to the floor, but whatever's still sitting on there, just from making the wall damp, it starts to build up over time. Now, if you start to look at these lower areas, it's not going to look like a lot on this wall here, but there is some mildew or organic growth or mold starting to develop. Underneath the stairs is pretty bad too. But if you start looking real closely, you'll start to see signs of moisture around all the bottom 12 inches of all the drywall around the basement. So this is all block. They put some trim here for some reason. It's possible they thought about a cove plate, but I have not seen a cove plate. A cove plate's going to be in junction with a sump pump system. There would be drain tile underneath that takes all of that moisture over to that sump pump. But without a cove plate present, that means there's likely no drain tile around the exteriors of the wall, bringing the moisture over to the sump pump.
Hi, I'm Ben, your St. Louis real estate ninja. I own over 35 doors in St. Louis and have owned properties in St. Louis for over 15 years. I help people go for their real estate dreams through cash flowing St. Louis rentals. If you need help with St. Louis real estate, that's what I'm here for. Feel free to email, text me, or call me, and I would love to talk to you about your goals. Other than that, let's get it. Can you tell them what you saw right here real fast?
Yeah, so when we take a moisture meter and put it on this type of staining on the inside of the closet, you're gonna see how it gets immediately wet. And so that's gonna be coming from that roof, likely the chimney. Now, just a lack of a rain cap on a chimney doesn't typically cause leaks like this. It's due to long-term over small leaks left and right. You get too much humidity build up in a bathroom, too much humidity inside of your attic space from the lack of ventilation, and next thing you know, you start getting staining like this to occur. So this may have been an old leak, a larger leak from an old roof leak, but I would imagine it's a combination of a few things. So when you have a furnace and water heater system running a flue up through a masonry chimney, when they're not lined, moisture builds up inside of that brick and can leak out onto your walls there as well. So it might be a combination of all three, or it could just be one immediate roof leak and then they just haven't fixed it and now it's damp, because my hand's not wet right now and I'm wet. So there is enough moisture in that wall versus here, this is dry. Versus here, that's wet. I don't know if that fan's working too well in there.
It doesn't sound like it.
I think I heard it turn on, but...
No, I heard it too, but it doesn't sound...
I think the water is just super hot. We got a couple minutes left on the water heater test.
So I know Alex, he usually runs the hot water for 12 minutes or so.
Yeah.
To make sure it stays hot.
It's 12 to 13 minutes at a shower, so that way I just do what my fiance does. I go, turn it to hot, set a timer for 12, 13 minutes.
What does that 12, 13 minutes do?
It just makes sure that the water heater's keeping up Yeah, so we verify the presence of it all fixtures, and then that 12 to 13 minute test is a good indicator that the water heater is still functioning as designed. You know, my fiance would say that's not long enough. It is long enough.
Yeah.
For a functional test. So, are these cracks from structural movement? Are they from moisture damage, termites? These are all the questions that we kind of have to ask ourselves.
If the sellers did a good job in covering up cracks, it'll be hard to.
I don't think that this seller tried to cover up anything.
No.
I think they have left it as is.
Right.
Which is, I appreciate more than them trying to cover stuff up.
Yeah, exactly.
When they cover things up, that's when I start saying, oh no. Voids underneath concrete like this, you want to consider backfilling. This isn't excessive by any means, but over time that pad will crack at the joint and it will start to settle. So
filling it with more.
It's just backfilling it with soil, rock, dirt. It looks like they tried to do a little bit here after it spalled and broke away on them. It's possible they re-poured that pad there actually. They're trying to prevent trip hazards. We are in a clay section of the lateral. There's a little bit of water backing up in this area. It might just be a slight belly or a low point, just due to that P-trap, maybe the angle of the lateral as well. So,
But basically, you can't see anything now.
yeah. So the lateral currently is obstructed with either just regular blockages or perhaps a larger issue that's going on. We are in a clay section of the lateral outside. We go into this underwater section here and then there's no pushing any further. So would likely recommend cleaning and reevaluation. Alrighty, this is a continuation of Ucayali out in Overland. Just directly in front of us is our main city connection. There is a minor to moderate offset here in this section that's preventing our camera from pushing forward, but we're not seeing any signs of backups or debris hanging out in at this offset. So just be aware of the offset. At some point it may need to be corrected. You may want to talk to the local municipality about any sewer lateral programs in the area that may be applicable, just for the future in case this does need to be repaired. At least your stair stringers here have a concrete pad underneath them. A lot of the times they rest directly on the soil, and they're always when you got wood sitting against soil,
Yeah,
it rots. The age of your AC system is from 2019.
Okay, it did look cleaner.
It's a Goodman. I mean, it's newer. It's pretty dirty.
Yeah, I see some.
The coils on the inside are gunked up. Be best to spray it off with a hose as best you can. You can take I wouldn't take a power washer to it, but the jet setting on a power wash or on a regular hose would be just fine. So you can see all that gunk.
It could be a deal breaker if I have to do the whole sewer lateral. When you look right here, you know, you have some signs right here, you have some signs right here, but there's a sump pump. But the sump pump might not go all the way around like we think. And then of course, if there's a sewer lateral issue, then those are big concerns for me. So now Alex is detecting where his camera is ending. This is a huge backyard. And with backyards, they look good and people do like backyards, but to maintain them can be harder if there's just more grass to cut. So I prefer decent size lots, but this is a pretty large lot. But that happens a lot here in Overland. Alex did point out right here that they covered up some of this mold right here with paint. So that can be a sign there that they're trying to cover up. So roofs, of course, can be a huge expense. So roof, plumbing, systems, as far as HVAC, those are cheaper, but a roof, that can be $10,000, so.
There's hail damage.
A lot?
Yeah, on each side.
Okay.
Enough to claim.
Really? That's not good. Hail damage?
Yeah, enough to claim. I'd say you probably have 12 hits per square. It also wasn't installed very well, so when the tabs meet one another, you don't want the seams overlapping because water ends up running in between the seam and then running in between the seam and directing the water into those areas. And you've got 1, 2, 3 at minimum with some loose shingles. You've got
Pick out a few things.
Stickers here from Bi-State Termite indicating that it has been treated for our Carpenter bees.
See?
We can see the Carpenter bee holes here at the bottom of the deck. They make almost perfect circles. They will come in from one side and go into the next.
Oh yeah, it says treatment. Yeah. What is the treatment for Carpenter bees?
It's typically filling in the holes. I believe there's some pesticides inside of it as well. But they try to treat, or they should treat, early mornings or late evenings, because that's when the bees return to their home, which are the holes or their nest, which is best too.
And it just repels them.
Well, you try to seal them in there and kill them off.
Oh.
And then yeah, it's an ongoing battle with wooded exteriors.
It's good that they left the stickers though. Yeah.
Yep, couple spots here or there.
One of the biggest concerns that I had is that moisture wall right here, and it looks like they have tried with these rocks to do something, but
yeah.
I just wanted you to look at it. There's still a gap right here.
Looks like maybe they poured some concrete and tried to create a little bit of a divot here. Maybe they just found some concrete and threw it in there. In this area not long ago, I found somebody had taken a bunch of thin set mortar or concrete and created I think it was a house
ramp.
that we did.
Yeah, I remember that. Is that a good solution? A decent, it's a little patch, right?
Yeah, it's fine. It's an amateur practice at best. Yeah,
but
it might be
French
temporary.
drain, like
a French drain would be great. Yeah, you've got decent grading outside of what's coming on this front side here.
Right, I feel like it's going this way.
So get your downspout reconnected.
Yeah.
Back up onto that gutter there. Help divert that water away from the home as best you can. And honestly, just backfilling this and regrading and helping it slope. You could put a French drain underneath it as well. That'll give you more confidence. That might prevent a lot of that moisture.
It'll be easy to access right now. Just kind of, it's already out here.
Exactly.
So that is a goal of mine, a priority of mine with what we're gonna find in the basement.
Yeah. This is a carbon monoxide analyzer. When your furnace is exhausting gases up and out of the flue, it is to be below a certain threshold. If it's above 100 parts per million, it's possible it just needs to be surfaced or cleaned. If it's anywhere close to 500 or above, that's when you start thinking about replacement of the furnaces themselves. A couple things could cause a high CO level within the flue. It's going to be a cracked heat exchanger inside of the furnace, which are back in here, which you'll never actually be able to see. You can only see maybe an inch on this one. It looks like a big S that wraps through it. When that heat exchanger becomes cracked, there becomes a concern for carbon monoxide gases getting into the plenum and then going in throughout the house. So this is a way to help determine whether or not we're at that point yet. If it's at 200 parts per million, it could be that the flue's clogged. Maybe a squirrel or a bird nest got in there. So it's not a 100% guarantee that the furnace is safe, but it's a lot better than not testing it. So this is an 80% efficient flue system, which is steel or galvanized going up. Only the high efficiencies we want below 50. Okay. They really should be at 0, but because when they're that efficient, there's really no off-put of gases going up through the exhausts, because it burns that natural gas just so purely. We're riding at 48, 49, so it's a little dirty. I'm gonna let it run for a moment until that blower fan kicks on at the bottom. So your inducer fan here is putting all the flue gases up and out of the flue. Once that heat exchanger back there in the back gets nice and hot, the blower fan down at the bottom is going to kick on and blow over the top of that heat exchanger and send hot air throughout the house. With your AC unit, you have two portions of the AC. You have your indoor evaporator coil, or A coil. When we install an A coil like a V, we don't call it a V coil. At the exterior compressor unit is the other half of your AC. When you have high pressure gas going through these lines, going through that evaporator coil, it's going to pull humidity from the air, condensation is going to develop, and it's going to come down this line and then over to your floor drain.
So Alex, we went through the whole house.
Yeah.
what were the major concerns about this one?
Quite a few things. We've got the roof that's a major concern just due to the hail and the active roof leaks that we found over here in the closet. Then outside of that, we jumped down into the basement. We've got all that organic growth or mold that's developing on the walls just due to the long-term moisture that's coming in. While they did put that sump pump in, it's not working right now. And then also, they should have put a cove plate. They didn't install it as well as they could have. So those are going to be your two big items, just due to ongoing issues and the amount of damage it's going to cause, and then also the cost that it's going to take to correct those issues.
And as an investor buying it myself, I'm thinking who's going to do it, how long is it going to take, how much is it going to cost, is it going to be 10,000, 20,000? These are things you have to deal with, and that's why you have to do a certified home inspection to work that deal as well.
Definitely.
But anyways, how can people get a hold of you if they want to do inspections in St. Louis?
With me, you can call 314-323-7458. Otherwise, you can look us up at housewarminghomeinspections.com.
All right, if you need help with St. Louis real estate, that's what I'm here for. Feel free to text, email, or call me, and I would love to work with you on your real estate goals. Other than that, I'll see you on the next one.